Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. What would you think are the two most common words that Christians use when they're in a panic or in a crisis? Do something. Do something, Lord. It's absolutely against human nature to stand still and do nothing when there's a crisis and there's trouble and difficulty on all hands. And probably the most difficult thing for even Christians is to stand still and wait for God to act. To stand still to see the salvation of the Lord. Even the most devoted of Christians panic when God doesn't move according to their time schedule. We're always giving God dates. We're always giving him a time limit. Lord, if you don't do it by now or by tomorrow or by next week, it's too late. God is never too late, and he's going to do it not on your schedule, not on mine. He's going to do it on his own schedule. But God is always and has always been searching the earth for those who will trust him in their crisis, in every trial, and especially when it seems hopeless. And he will lead us, listen closely, he will lead us into situations that are alarming, that are critical, that seem hopeless, to test us. The devil has nothing to do with it at all. It's God leading into the crisis. The Bible states fairly clearly, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, Psalms 37:23. And that in Hebrew is prearranged, step by step, fixed, ordained by God. I'm going to tell you something. I believe that every step that I take is prearranged by my Father. Every step that I take is ordered by the Lord. Now, if I believe that, if I'm in a crisis, if I'm in a very, very difficult situation, he's led me there. Because he doesn't stop for a moment while he says, well, you're about to go into a trial. I direct you up to this point. You're on your own now. He directs me into it, through it, and out of it. The steps of a good man, and we are good only by the blood of Jesus anyhow. There's no goodness in us. A good man made righteous through the blood of Jesus Christ is her steps ordered by the Lord. God's word is filled with examples of this. And by the way, it's hard to accept. Think about it for a minute. It's very, very hard to accept this concept that the most difficult, critical times in your life have been prearranged by the Lord. That they are his doing. And folks, when you begin to see that and accept it and understand it, then you're halfway through your problem.
Amen to that. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Merry Christmas Eve.
Hi.
All right. Welcome to Proverbs, guys, or something like that. We're a ministry, but also a YouTube channel, but also we're just a bunch of friends here to talk about Jesus and to correct some doctrine. But more than that, what we love to do is we love to point out, one, how evolution is in fact a religion, making it a false religion, and two, we point out the flaws in that religion to show people why they need to start looking into other religions for answers.
Amen. Last time we touched upon this subject, I remember that we brought up the Greek school books, children books, which go straight into analysis of a cell and what a mitochondrium is and what it does. And nowhere in that book does it say that all animals are connected to a common ancestor. So although you take it for granted that, oh no, this is education, no, wake up. That's the education that you're getting. And everybody around you is turning into an animal. Guess why? Because they think they are related to animals. Here, there are ethics. And where there is science, there is science. And where is it? Religion, it's religion. It's a different class. You have them together, like the American system, all the way to university level, has connected religion with science. It's like the same. No, it ain't.
Hi, Achilles.
But Achilles,
Easy.
I have found a video on YouTube that explains the evolution from a dinosaur to a chicken. I'm ready to present that evidence to you, and then after the video, you guys can tell me whether or not you found this to be believable. It's only a minute long.
We are interested in the evidence, and yeah, we are led by the Holy Spirit. So let's see this evidence.
Well, if it's published and peer reviewed, I believe it already. That's what evolution is. Hey, look! A chickenosaurus. Eotiran. Oh, we know that one. Tyrannosaurus Rex. Evolution, right there. You see? Asteriornis, that was too fast. Maastrichtitis, Galmoides, Humogensis. Yep, there you see it. It happened. That's it. It was easy to see there. We find the fossils and we even tell the colors, you know? There you go. Chickenus. Gallus domesticus.
Oh, look at that! The rooster evolved before
There
the
we
hen.
go.
All right, so there you guys have it. The evidence has been submitted today. We have video proof that evolution is real and
Yep.
that dinosaurs did evolve into chickens.
It was right there. All the evidence was right there.
And what's interesting is it shows the male evolving before the female when it gets to the chicken stage. And that's very interesting. And my question is, how long was it just a bunch of dudes hanging out before the chicks came along?
Oh yeah, don't ask the left that question.
Well, women kill us off. We know that. So they had a longer lifespan because the hens weren't around.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense. Yep, I'll buy that.
Well, it makes much sense because actually your lifestyle's better off if you're married. I have heard, but that is I'm actually, man, I'm worried because I think I might lose my faith over that one.
Would that really make or break your faith for you, Dan?
I don't know. I gotta contemplate it. Oh, there we are.
So if somebody can answer this for me, I would be indebted.
Yeah, that's the issue. They have found
One, and then one more.
and sometimes that one is like a tooth.
Yeah, which we build the whole body out of it, and then we also build its wife
Right.
from one tooth.
And instead
Or-
of thinking, hey, this might be from its own unique species that is no longer around, they think, hey, this might fit into the interlink thing.
Well, I gotta be fair
or-
here. I gotta be fair because this is kind of like, except for when in the 70s there was only one missing link, so this must be a pre-70s picture. But actually, to be
No, pre-70s,
truthful,
we didn't have the internet. There were no memes before the 70s.
but to be truthful, and you look at this, it's like that's not gradual evolution. Those 4 middle guys, that's not gradual.
Even if it is, where are they?
No, I'm saying that's not gradual. You have to have multi in between each of those. Hordes of them. How many thousands, hundreds,
Right.
millions?
Oh, Dan, your best friend is here.
Merry Christmas,
Wait,
Claude.
let me introduce Claude the proper way. Here he is to wreck the day.
Sounds like just like
Wait,
yeah.
wait.
Okay. Get a life, our little friend. Get a life. Looks like your whole life revolves around Ken Hovind. So please get a life. So we're sorry he was the first to bring out all this stuff, but then it became funny to all those that came after him. The whole thing is a joke. So if you still believe in it, you're like the Joker to the rest of us.
Oh man, yeah. And look
Well,
at
yeah,
this
I guess
chart. Go
what
ahead,
what
Dan.
he can't what he can't explain and is this nobody can explain this. That is that you would have to have I don't know. I mean, how you know can we estimate how many links in between each of those links, and then how many multitude in between the little guy and the next guy up?
Plus, if the little guy is still around, why aren't the rest still around? Why were they not fit to be around? Okay, then why did they evolve into us? It's like so dumb in so many levels. And the only reason I believed it as I was growing up is because I never looked into it. I just took it for granted that, yeah, everybody thinks that, so that's how it is. If you look into it, it's dumb in every single page. But they will say, you're not a scientist. You wouldn't know.
Well, it's all about denying the flood, right? It really does all evolve around the flood because the flood is God's proof that he has the sovereign authority to judge the whole world. The left cannot accept that. So they will go as far back as to attack creation at the beginning through evolution just to prevent you from getting to the flood. They cannot allow the flood to be accepted because that is proof that God can judge his creation.
And since our friend mentioned Kent Hovind, he's bringing up always the verse that is showing us what exactly is happening. And I'm going to insert this to share another tab, which, oh no, okay, wait a minute. It is a presentation, but let's check it out. What kind of a presentation is this? It should be fun. All right, Romans. Okay, I don't know what I'm looking at, but yes, this is the one I was looking for. Full screen, please. This is what is showing what is happening. Above all, you must understand that in the last days, scoffers will come, scoffing and following after their own lusts, is the correct translation. They will say, okay, I think it's a little later. They say here that everything goes on as it has since the beginning of creation. So that is like, things haven't changed from back then. But it also says that they deny two things: the flood and creation. Ain't that right? I will find the verse.
That is accurate, yes.
They are ignorant. They are willfully ignorant of those two facts. And willfully, as Ken Hovind completely correctly translates, comes from the Greek word, which means exactly that. By choice, they choose to ignore it and to mock it.
Mm.
And there is a reason. They are going after their own lusts.
And
Because
all we're guilty of is showing them that they do in fact have a belief. And if you have a belief, you have a religion. They have to believe so many elements that somehow equate to evolution that it absolutely then falls into a religion.
Oh, I knew you were gonna do that. Can you pop that back up, Achilles, real quick?
yes.
'Cause that
Although
is
I wasn't so crazy about the specific translation, I don't know where it comes from. But
oh yeah.
go ahead. Okay, I brought it up. Let me bring it. Okay.
Yeah, look at that. and this is actually good that Claude's here because he had a question about Christianity and somebody's a good Christian or not a good Christian. And Christianity comes because you're a follower of Jesus Christ and he washed away your sins and he's made you righteous through him. And so this is great. The verse 4, they will say, well, it was 3.
What?
Above all, you must understand that in the last days scoffers will come, scoffing and following their own evil desires. And so anybody that's questioning what a Christian is or isn't, it is somebody who is not perfect. It is somebody who is trusting in God to lead us. And these evil desires it's talking about here, that could be starting a church. That could be building a hospital. If the desire is the through evil or bad what do you want to call that? What do you guys would call that? Motivation. Sorry. If it's motivated because of something me, that's an evil desire. So it's very easy to, and especially when somebody says, "Oh, there's no evidence for creation." Like, "Oh my gosh. Open your eyes. That's evidence for a creator." Now, you might have believe it's not good enough evidence. Like we don't think that mutations, and which is the foundation of evolution, is good enough. That's evidence. It's not good enough evidence to create the complexity, the how many millions, billions of species that have been walking on this earth in the past and in the present. So no, it's that the evidence is there, but it's your evil desires that are keeping you from it. And all you got to do is tell me, come on in, anybody, or anytime you see me, and you can ask, you know, or tell me that you are perfect and that you're not living your life through evil desires. But that's what really popped out to me today. Thank you, Achilles.
Well, we could
Nothing.
also,
Thank you.
yeah, we could also go into the violence that has plagued society ever since we've started teaching evolution in schools. And we're not just talking about mass school deletions that have been happening rampantly, but we're also talking about gang violence has been on the increase ever since we've started talking about evolution. Drug use has increased since we've started talking about evolution. Divorce rates are higher since we've started talking about evolution.
And
Give me a
as
sec. Yeah, go ahead.
and somebody had mentioned Sunday, just the morals that the foundation and fabric of a nation. Even if the people that don't believe in God, if you think there's something there to looking over your shoulder, even if it is that, even if it is that scare tactic that some, I would call it off religious teachings would say of, oh, you better watch out for hell or whatever. It's like, no, I think that's a false thing, but that can keep people in line now with saying that there is no purpose except for your genetics. Wow, why do we have so many more fatherless uh, children? No, they got the part right about spreading the genetics, but there's what morals do you have to? What morals do you really have um, to really put you in check? But when you have that true faith inside you and you want to please God because He loves you, we'll stay away from those evil desires.
And it's not like people don't have morals. They are making a straw man out of this sentence that you're putting out. They're saying, "Oh, are you saying that only Christians can be moral?" No, it's not exact. Don't strawman that. What it means is that your morals are gonna be different from somebody else's morals. That guy, our frenemy that we have in the chat, said the other day that I believe in absolute morality, but mine. That is not absolute morality. That is subjective morality, and that's yours. And it might be different than mine. So if you say that evolution says survival of the fittest, so if Achilles is not good enough to hold on to his girlfriend, I can take her. If your morality says that's okay, my morality doesn't say it's okay. So the only way to have subjective morality, objective morality, is to have it somewhere written. And we have that. We have a moral code. If you don't have that and you don't abide by that moral code, then we don't know what code you go by. And if you go by the evolutionary code, well, then it's survival of the fittest, which means there are no morals. Like the baby lion, the lion doesn't care for the baby giraffe. It's gonna eat the baby giraffe because that's the easiest one to catch. That's for humans, that would be a completely moral thing, but for the nature and the animal kingdom, it's fine. No, Robin, I'm still free. I'm just hypothetically. I'm actually free, but not available. It's a complicated case. Amen, blessed be he, and amen to your previous comment that I saw public as well, because I'm a little overwhelmed right now. I'm not looking into the chat. I just see what Stephen brings up. So next speaker.
Well, I mean, it's going to be hard to top what you just said, Achilles.
Yeah, because they tend to strawman this, and they're like, "Are you just saying that you are the only one that is moral?" No, we just have a
Well,
book
no,
that says.
it's not even that we're saying unbelievers and atheists cannot be moral people. We're saying that according to evolution, there is nothing that holds them to a moral standard. You have to go off community moral standards, and that is wow, that swings way left and way right. You have some societies that are very civilized, like England, and then you have other societies where they eat you.
Hey,
So
hey,
you know,
as a Greek, I'm gonna say no. The Brits are not the moral ones. Give me a break.
Thank
Like
you.
you know
bad
what I mean,
example
though. They
right
have
there.
law and order. They have
What law and
sentences. Like,
order? No, well, please, no, no. England, France, no, don't bring those concerning morality when
well, I
they.
couldn't use the United States. Test, Dustin. We see you.
Um, yeah, no, I don't want to say that only my country has morals. No, other countries have morals as well, but the Brits and the French, not very moral.
Well, my point is, though, really was, anyways, that morals vary from community to
According, yeah,
community.
yeah.
And that's the problem with evolution. There's no written standard right or wrong with that belief system. With Christianity and almost every religion, you do have that standard of right and wrong, especially the Abrahamic faiths.
And not to say they're used perfectly or understood perfectly by us as sinful human beings, but there is that standard, an absolute standard that even though people will, oh, well, God did this or God did that in the Old Testament, well, everything was out the window to get Jesus Christ born as we celebrate tomorrow. Uh, and
I,
it's just mind-boggling. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, I have morals. I don't believe in killing people. Really?
yeah, let me
That's
say that.
only today. You could change that.
Mm.
God's commandments don't change. It shows we
Yeah,
need God. Go ahead, Achilles.
I agree 100%. I just want to point out to what you're saying, the specific example that no, I don't think that all Abrahamic religions have the same morals. I think only Christianity does. Islam can kill if you are an infidel, if you are somebody who denies their prophet, and you're going to heaven if you do that. It actually shows you no other way to get to heaven other than that in around 100 verses, not just one, 100 different places in the Quran, and there is no other way. It doesn't say you're going to heaven if you are faithful to your wife. It doesn't say you're going to heaven if you are a good person. No, it just says, by the way, if you happen to kill somebody because of God, of Allah, yeah, then you're going to heaven 109 times. And then you have those who came from the Abrahamic root, but now have turned into Judaism and consider Christianity idolaters. And they say they're free to kill them because the old law says that you can kill idolaters. So I want to say that it's only Christianity, the Old with the New Testament combined, that are the ethics, the ethic code of treating your neighbor as you would want to be treated yourself. Like that is the commandment, and it's analyzed in another 5 commandments in the Old Testament.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, who do we have in the panel? Hello. Oh, Krishna.
It's
Oh,
me. It's me.
hello. I just saw this beautiful picture. Did you take that?
I was actually just telling Dan before the show started. I took that in Virginia.
Oh, a creek.
I actually had to hop a fence and go underneath the gate to get the picture. I was like, it's so beautiful, and I hear it, and it was calling my name, so I had to take a picture of it.
Yep. And I just, because we had a comment up, I couldn't see your name. It's like this. And I'm like, who is this? Are we going to get corn bombed right now? You know? So
Yeah,
it's a-
definitely not.
Hey, this is a Filipino twisty bread. What is this? Oh, you're muted, Mr. President. How did you manage that? All right. No, you're still muted.
Lumpia. I
Okay.
know. I was making sure I got the right word for it. Lumpia is like the little
Spring roll.
spring rolls, but yeah, this is the Philippine version.
Uh-huh.
Anybody?
I do. Can I?
Yeah. So I'm gonna
Can I have a couple hundreds?
yeah, they're crispy. Listen, feel it.
Oh,
Listen to that. Oh. So
not
anybody's
over
welcome
the
to
keyboard.
California.
No.
Anybody's welcome to California. Jim will cook them for you.
Oh man, you're hitting a nerve right now. I had never tried the. What is going on here? All right, this is the button. There it is. But
Sorry, I
one
was
of the
trying to
things,
reduce me.
yeah, one of the things I miss from California is the Mexican cuisine and the burrito. Oh God, the burrito, man. Let's not talk about food. We're here to talk about evolution.
I was gonna say
Blair,
I left and we were talking evolution. I came back and we're talking about burritos. My, how the conversation,
yeah.
get this, evolved.
Which, if you actually believe in evolution, then when you're eating meat, yeah, you are a cannibal. You're eating an ancestor. You have, or a cousin, if you don't like the ancestor
No,
word.
no, no. They think that even more if you eat a banana, because we share 50% of our DNA with bananas.
Evolution is just dumb, and it is the method to replace the creator with something. They had to come up with something, and that's what it is. It's like it all made itself. Oh, really? Like the computer that I'm on right now, it made itself.
Yeah, Dan was about to say something and then he changed his mind. No, in the amount of full grown men who will come out and confess that they believe they come from strawberries and they come from bananas and they come from fish, it's really, really laughable, but also sad. And we have a lot of work to do to counter what the public school system's doing.
And again, I think that that is a very important point. How here evolution doesn't exist in biology books of all grades of high school at all. It's nowhere. So that should trigger some people to think about it and be like, wait a minute. If that is given fact, then why in a country like Greece, where science is started, they're not even talking about it? They're not even teaching it. Doesn't that like trigger somebody to think about it? They taught it in China when it was turning communist, and now it's getting taught in American schools. Like, on one side, you hear people being patriotic and being like, socialism will never work in my country and communism will never work in my country. Yeah, but you're not stopping its tools. The country was founded upon the concept that God exists and is real. It is in the Constitution, it is in your national anthem, it is everywhere. And you allow children to be taught away from the existence of a creator.
But the plagues on our society is our due punishment. We're seeing it played out now, whether people like it or not. The evil we see is due to what we produce. We've done it to ourselves.
Which does remind me of that seminar. I think it's seminar number 5, which shows how the year that they introduced evolution in schools, and Ken Hovind was showing all those charts of crime and abortions and children pregnancies, and how all that was rising after that year. But no connection there. So you go to school and they teach you like that you are an animal. You think that doesn't affect your life? Here, when we go to school, they teach us that we are humans and we have nothing compared to animals. And if we ask deep questions, the answer that comes is like, God this and God that. God allowed it. God allows it to now eat meat. It wasn't like that before the ark. But then they will say, wait till you get that taught in your religious class. All right, chilling back a little bit.
And I wanted to add the verse when talking about the children, the blessed
Oh, yeah.
ones,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Matthew, this Matthew,
18,
yes,
6.
yep.
Yeah.
If anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around his neck and drowned in the depths of the sea. And I always thought that was no big deal, but you got to imagine that as you're going down, the pressure is going to like kind of puff you up like a balloon and explode you. And that I think is a good. That's not a. You're getting off easy for hurting a child, and luckily God is better than I am, more patient than I am, because we are teaching children that they don't have eternal value. And I'm sorry, I've argued with people that it's like, oh no, we teach them that, I don't know what they're teaching them. Oh, I don't know, go discover somebody, go help your community so that the rich people will, you know, get more riches off of you. I don't know what the motivation is to be following the crowd. I guess that's why I don't tell even people in my church, because I'm not a follower. I will, as you guys know, if I have a question on the Bible, I might not say that, "Oh, I'm right, you're wrong," but I'm going to question what you say to me. And I just see that too many evolutionists don't question. They do not question, why am I being good? Who's taught me that it's going to be a better feeling? Guarantee you, if you're on that beach, you're going to feel better just as good as the billionaires, the millionaires that are hanging out there all the time while you're doing the work. No real purpose in eternity. I even say there's not really purpose in the temporal, just till death. But anyway, what do you guys think?
I will say that we evolved that mechanism of understanding that it's wiser to be good because it builds up a better society. But the truth is that if we have evolved something, that would be that the meanest one survives. The one that has no ethics survives. So why did we evolve the exact opposite of being kind? If you are kind, all the other monkeys are going to take your food. I mean, how dumb are all their answers?
Well, and we
Because
see. Oh, go ahead.
they try to deny God, and they will bring up every possible thing, even if it doesn't make sense. Go ahead.
And then you see like, oh, we're only in parts of the West, and again, even in America or Europe. No, no, no. There is class. You are
America.
you are put into a class system. You want to go to those rich people and say, "Hey, I get what you need. I can have what you have." You're gonna be thrown on your nose. And I'm not talking about, because there's a lot of rich people that actually work their rears off, but there is the what do they call those? The ones that have the inheritance babies. They have their accounts with tons of money in it, and they're not going to trade with you. I guarantee, unless somebody has made them think that, oh, poor somebody else. You, we are in a lower class as people who don't make working people. People have to go out and work. And so don't tell me that that's better. Those rich people, then what? They didn't evolve, they didn't get those mutations. But again, going back to it, what mutation makes some people who have riches, and it's like they always say, like, oh well, they give a lot of money. They give money for tax breaks, they give money to feel good, whatever it is. That you can't tell me that that's just because, oh, they're loving, because it's not. And so then why didn't they get the mutation to help everybody and not live in their little mansion here and there? And then I was like, okay, yeah, let's see. No, they've got mansions all over the place. I've worked for this people. I'm thankful for them because they have extra money to spend. But don't say it's because it's an evolution thing, because you got to come up with, where's the mutation? How do we mutate emotions? You're seeing a tribe of monkeys, and one might share it, whatever they are, whatever animal. Oh, they're sharing something. Well, is that an evolved thing of feelings, or is that just what they are genetically a slave to do? So, yeah, there's a lot more to it.
I didn't want to interrupt. I just coughed.
The floor is yours. I'm getting
I
dressed
just,
to head out to
no, it
church.
was just an innocent cough. I did not want to say something. Reminds me of that scene from Anchorman where the guy, Brad, what was his name? I don't remember his name. They were talking. He was like, So everybody stops to hear what he wanted to say. And he said, I just burned my tongue with his coffee. It was so funny. Stephen, you know what I'm talking about?
On Anchorman, when Brett burns his tongue.
Yeah,
He said,
bread.
that's hot.
I just burned my tongue.
Yeah, that's what he says. I just burned my tongue.
Oh,
We gotta start uploading some of those scenes again of stuff like that. Maybe, when something goes wild, that
Well,
moment where he
that
says,
does remind me. Do you remember that blessing I was talking to you about?
"Yep,
Okay, it was activated. So
way."
I know. Pretty good news. Praise God.
that's
I
good.
know. And I wanted to tell you, don't tell people. Leave this, let us know it.
Yeah, no,
Don't,
I agree.
yeah.
Stephen.
Let's just say that if Max is very good and is very understanding, they have a great back office where people listen to you and understand stuff that you need. And we want to thank them a lot. They're not like a big tech company. Thank you, Max. We owe you. Fiction. Next.
Well,
I just answered the question.
well, this is, in my opinion, one of the very best pastors there have ever been, Adrian Rogers. And this is, I thought I had seen most of his stuff, and then I was somehow going through algorithm, and I almost thought this was like clickbait, and somebody had mislabeled it, and I was going to open it up and it'd be a sermon I had already seen, and no, it is him going in on evolution, and it is amazing.
Awesome.
Well, Steven, you haven't seen all of them because on occasion they release some. They say that they're in the vault and they take them out of the vault and they release some at a time. So that way there will be constantly new stuff. So
Awesome.
That would make sense, actually. Okay.
Before you press play, Gigi wanted to ask something. Gangster Bros, you're muted.
Do you believe in Bigfoot?
Nah, come on.
Gigi, you're muted, Gigi.
Okay, he's telling me something in the private chat, and I'm reading you, Gigi. I actually wasn't home. I just got home 15 minutes before the show starts, and I've missed everything. But I like that, what I'm reading. So, Gigi, are you here? Because you are muted. He might be on the phone. Um,
oh,
okay, go ahead, Krista.
just wanted to say, talking about teaching children evolution. Um, I'm very thankful that I was raised the way I was raised in a godly Christian, like Christian apologetics kind of household, because um, it alarms me how young they start teaching evolution. So I went to second grade public school, and in second grade, all of my tests, I was failing science in public school because I wouldn't write evolution based answers on my test in the second grade. And my teacher's like, "Why are you doing this?" I was like, "Because it's all lies." And she's like, "Well, where's your research? Like, where's your information?" And I'm like, "Hold on, I have a seminar set." So I actually saved up money and bought the teacher the seminar set.
And
Yeah.
you've led him to the truth, I bet.
Uh, it was a her, and she wasn't able to say whether she actually watched them or not. But
Uh-huh.
you know,
Well, when you have something, it's pretty hard not to watch it. If you watch those seminars, it's done.
well, it kind of reminds me, because there are people that say, "Well, yeah, my kids, they're grounded in the truth. They know what's right, about the whole evolution creation thing." I'll just go back to what Kent Hovind says about that. Why are we sending 5-year-olds off to war? Like,
Right.
so
And that's what I'm trying to get across through here. It all started by me seeing a book by a little girl, which almost killed me, by the way, because I told you recently she's also learning MMA and she wanted to show me a new choking technique and she almost killed me. But a couple of weeks before that, I saw one of her biology books and I looked into it and I noticed that there is no evolution in it. So I downloaded, I found online a place where you can download all the books from Greek schools. And it's not there, guys. It's not there at all. We had a show here that we are showing all the pages and it's not in the book. So if my country was like, I don't know, man, Korea, maybe it didn't matter. But it's Greece. It matters. Like you can't say, oh, those guys don't know what they're talking about. Right. Just, if you're gonna say that, just say it quietly. Don't shout it,
It makes me really thankful. So I got to visit with a cousin of mine last week, and she's 16 or almost 16, and I asked her because she's a Christian, and her parents, she doesn't really have any like Christian influences at home. I don't believe her parents are saved. And I asked her, I was like, so you go to public school? I was like, so would you say that the things you're being taught in school have influenced you? And I was very proud to hear her say, she's like, no, she's like, you're talking about all the evolution stuff. She's like, I know it's garbage. She's like, I don't believe any of it. And it made me feel really good that she's that young and solid in what she believes. Because the agenda that they're pushing is being pushed mighty hard.
No, it's really sad.
I
So I
found
am going to take off. We're headed to church. God bless everybody's
God bless you,
holidays.
brother. Merry Christmas.
I'll be listening.
Merry Christmas, brother. Let me zoom in a little more so we hide the username because I don't like that username. So I found this post the other day. Ain't that something? It's not
Oh well, I just read it because I was doing something.
okay. It's not about evolution. It's about the woke thing, but it's still, guys. I mean, this this country has had some blessings because of where it was going. Now it has changed its path, so don't expect it to be blessed as it used to be in the past.
I definitely believe, obviously, in America, you can see God's hand of blessing for sure. But I believe you definitely can see God slowly but surely removing his hand of blessing from the United States for what we do as far as the exploitation of children, just in general, whether it's teaching them propaganda or etc.
Um, we have somebody backstage. I'm going to go
It's a
backstage.
very sketchy name.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go backstage and have a talk. So guys can disable the listen off stage feeds, so it doesn't interrupt your, your flow. Let me stop sharing this, and then I'm going backstage.
All right. Well, in the meantime, we are going to watch parts of Dr. Adrian Rogers address evolution and the dangers of evolution and how it leads to racism and Marxism and socialism and communism and a bunch of isms that Kent Hovind has also pointed out. So, you know what the Bible says about confirmations. Two or more is a pretty good deal.
Okay, it's a friend, and you'll know who it is when he speaks.
Oh, excellent. Welcome.
Oh,
Yeah, I just banged a random name because I'm on my phone. Sorry.
Well, that makes sense. Hey, what's your name there, partner?
I tried to type in holy fish / spear, which I thought was semi clever, but it wouldn't load the page.
Well, you are forever going to be known as Rifrach.
That's good. That's how you say my name in Turkish.
May I say hi to my Greek brother who is in the chat? Hello, Jim. What up, brother? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, brother. I was thinking about you. I'm gonna give you a call tomorrow.
Bro, if that's how you spell Jim, I just had a stroke.
Yeah, no. We do this in here in Greek. we copyright the way something is written if we change it a little bit. So this is this gym. It is TZ. That's our gym. It's not like the gym that everybody knows. This is Jim from Jimaras. It's pretty hard to explain. So, Brother Jim, we're just exposing evolution today and how it's only getting taught in American schools and it is destroying people's faith in God. My brother Jim, we've had some recent discussion about how even in Greece we have forgotten the truth about the gospel and how we all call ourselves Christians around here, but we don't have a Bible. So how can we be Christians without having a Bible? So we were like 6 or 7 people in his house, and I kept asking each one of them, "Are you Christian?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Do you have a Bible?" He said, "No." "Are you Christian?" "Yes." "Do you have a Bible?" "No." "Are you Christian?" "No." I repeated that all around the room, and nobody has a Bible. And I'm like, why do we call ourselves Christians then? What is it that makes us Christians if we don't understand what the Word of God says? So that and other stuff, and we've had a great discussion. And Jimmy, I'm thinking of coming by. I want to bring over the hardware that we were talking about. So I'll give you a call tomorrow for sure. Sorry for the interruption, everybody. I'm gonna get him on panel soon. Let him get warmed up.
We are watching.
Well, Dan just totally disappeared. I think he's intimidated.
Oh, Dan messaged me and he's like, "Hey, I told Stephen that you had to put it off." I was like, "Put what off?" And then he's like, "It was the ultimate troll," and that was the last thing he said to me. So I don't know what he's talking about.
What?
That's what he just told me.
Put what off?
I don't know. I tried to find out.
Man, now I want to find out. Dan is
I
a
was like,
heck of a
"Dan, I
troll.
don't want to put it off. Whatever it is, I'm ready."
What? I don't know. I'm lost as could
I
be.
thought you would know. I don't know.
Dan, and he mysteriously had to leave for church.
He literally like, just sent me a
Mm.
message like a few minutes ago, and he's like, "Hey, I told Stephen you got to put it off." I was like, "What are you talking about?"
I heard that
Christian,
Christian.
my
Okay.
wife is sorry, my wife is wanting me to ask you if Tammy had the baby.
She has
No.
not had the baby. We almost had it a couple of days ago, and they're
Yeah.
saying that if she doesn't go by Friday, they're going to have to induce her. So it's literally like any minute now.
Yeah. I heard that, Christian. I
She
heard that
said
on
she's
the
been
show.
praying for you guys.
I appreciate that so much.
And I heard Dan's response that he said that his child, like the water broke and the baby came 2 days later. And I laughed with you when you freaked out about that. Like, what?
I have never heard of a baby coming 2 days after the water breaks. Maybe that's possible.
Yeah, freaked me out too. Did you get that, Steven? Like the
Maybe
water
that's what
broke.
Dan's saying that me and Steven had to put off. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
okay,
know.
wait. I don't
I'm
know.
gonna send you guys the screenshot. I can't make heads or tails of it.
Oh, man.
Well,
All
are
right.
you guys ready to kind
Yes.
of go through and commentate on this video?
Yes. Let me
We don't
put up.
have to make it full screen. Yeah, there
I
we
don't
go.
even know what the heck y'all watching.
So this is have you've ever heard of Dr. Adrian Rogers?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, this is Dr. Adrian Rogers. It's called Evolution Factor Fiction, and it's one of his sermons on evolution.
Okay.
So as you can imagine, it's very pro Darwin.
I'm assuming he's leaning into the fiction category.
Well, yes, I would say he would strongly land in that side. Yep.
No, Adrian Rogers is a very respected person.
No, yeah, I love him. He's one of my two favorites, him and David Wilkerson. I'd like to be a good mix between them two.
David Wilkerson's a great, great preacher.
My favorite, yep. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this, y'all, and you can stop along the way and make any comments you want.
By his great love.
20. I want you to listen as we talk about this subject, evolution, fact or fiction. You see, really, if you were to reduce all of the questions in the world down to one question, it would simply be this. Did God make man or did man make God? Is man the special creation of Almighty God, or is God in the figment and the imagination of man. Now look at our verse. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 20. O Timothy, keep that which is committed unto thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so called, which some professing have erred concerning the faith. Grace be with thee. Amen. Now, what are we talking about when we talk about Darwinian evolution? Oh, what is this? Well, let me tell you what is extant, what is out there in the air today, what our students are subjected to day by day, and what is found in most all of our libraries. Time magazine has this advertisement. Actually, the series is called The Emergence of Man, and this series is found in almost all public libraries, in almost all high school and junior high school and elementary schools across America. Let me read from that ad. Let me just show you what children are being taught, and what this is only typical. This is not universal, but I would say it is very typical. I'm reading now from the Time Life book series, The Emergence of Man. Quote, today, that creature who first began to raise himself above other animals no longer exists. He is become you, unique, set apart from the 2 million other species living on the planet by a thumb that makes your hand the precision tool, by a knee that locks you into a comfortable upright position, and by your capacity for abstract thought and speech. Now that's what makes you different, boys and girls. Your thumb, your...
Guys, this is the only thing they think separates us from the animals. It's a thumb, a knee, and the ability to think. No soul, nothing of note, really. Not advanced languages, not the ability to cipher languages so that Achilles and I can speak in the same language, even though we don't speak the same language, naturally. Like, there's a lot more that separates us than a knee, a thumb, and the ability to think the way we do.
Knee
No,
seems like an interesting qualification because, like, opposable thumbs are pretty rare. I think only great apes have those. But, like, knees, like, a lot of stuff has knees.
I don't know why.
Like,
yeah,
rhinos have knees.
where does that come from, the knees part? I mean, seriously, I've actually never heard of it. I've heard of the opposable thumbs. I've heard of, the ability to think, consider,
If I rewind it, it
continuo,
might tell
ergo
us the
sum.
quote.
Yeah, I mean,
What
knee
else?
seems like a strange one.
Yeah,
He's like, tongue.
I could rewind it just a little bit to see if he quotes it again.
unique, set apart from the 2 million other species living on the planet by a thumb that makes your hand the precision tool, by a knee that locks you into a comfortable upright position, and by your capacity for abstract thought and speech.
okay.
Now that's what makes you different, boys and
Yeah, I
girls.
really think
Your
it's
thumb,
mostly
your
that
knee,
last one.
and the ability to think abstractly. That's what makes you
Yeah, I
a
think therefore I
significant
am.
other
Is
from an
what
animal.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more emphasis on that last one.
Well, I don't know. The thumb
I
thing's a pretty good thing.
No,
the
thumb's a
thumb.
big one. Thumb's a big one. But I think, like, other great apes have thumbs, I'm pretty sure.
No,
No,
because... Go ahead,
Do they
Achilles.
not?
opposable thumbs. No, no. We
Oh,
are the
maybe you're
only
right.
one.
Maybe I'm wrong.
And I have to tell you, I think they're wrong about the abstract thought thing, too, because I can tell you when I was working in Georgia, we were doing some hog ratification. And when we were doing the process and walking up to these pins to do the deed, you could see them thinking with everything in them. You could see it in their eyes. They were thinking of every possible way. Then, once it came their turn, you could see the finally accepting it. It was, you can see thought in animals.
Yeah, but they didn't have no thumbs, so they couldn't do nothing about it.
Well, amen.
Whoop. There is a echo from you, Krista.
For me?
No, Krista.
Oh no, my computer just came back on, so yeah.
Okay, you sound much better now.
Yeah, I didn't know that only Homo sapiens had opposable thumbs. I didn't know that.
I don't know, maybe some other Homo
I
did
mean,
as
you might
well.
be right. Honestly, it's been so long since I read about this kind of stuff.
But the knee thing, I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah,
I
that's the
haven't
one that
found.
got me because like a lot of stuff has knees.
I'm pretty sure he didn't come up with it. He probably found it somewhere, and I'm looking
Well, I'm
into
sure
it.
it's a reference to like the specific design of the human knee. I would imagine.
Yeah, he
Because
said
like
the
human
knee.
beings like are very fast for bipedal animals, and I think the only other animals that are that fast are quadriplegic or quadrupedal or whatever.
Yeah, no, he said though the knee that can go upright.
Lock you in a
Yeah.
comfortable upright position.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay. So he's talking like the whole knee hip situation, like
yeah, but
bipedalism.
I'm thinking about other animals that it can lock upright as well, like the giraffe.
Huh. Well, like I know like kangaroos, like do they have forward facing knees?
I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm wrong about that.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. Like I used to be pretty sharp on this stuff, but it's been a while since I even had my mind into all that.
I think the biggest thing that separates us, though, that we haven't mentioned is the soul. We
Yeah, I mean
know that
it's like the
humans have
fact
a
that like
soul.
we're made in God's image and they're animals.
Right, you know?
I don't think it's so much like the liver or the tongue, you know.
No, probably not. But it could be, like, do we have a unique liver?
I mean, he's cooking. We'll see where he goes with it.
All right.
Wait a
Well,
minute. Wait a minute. Give me a minute. That's something interesting I came across as I was looking for the knee thing, which I haven't found yet. I was actually doing something else. I hope.
dude, don't Google that. You're going to come up with knees, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. What is it?
Yeah, I was actually doing something on Photoshop for our brother here, but hey, wait.
All right.
But okay, so let me zoom in a little bit. So yeah, these are the chimpanzee, the orangutan, the gorilla, the baboon, and the siamang. What is that? I don't know.
So chimps and bonobos don't have opposable thumbs?
Yeah, they look like opposable, but they are not as strong and
No,
uh,
yeah, because those animals are like semi quadriplegic or not quadriplegic. What's
yeah,
the word I'm
they're
looking for,
using the
Steven?
four.
Quadrupedal?
Yeah,
I
I
think it's
don't know.
quadrupedal. No, yeah, for sure. Like humans don't use their hands to walk, so
Yeah, nor their feet to grab on trees.
yeah. No, it's definitely different, but I just was thinking like thumbs. I was like, well, I think other things have thumbs. I mean, I doubt they have the exact same kind of thumb because like no animal has the same kind of things.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, science does say that opposable thumbs is one of the things that separated us from the animal kingdom because it allowed us to build tools and hold them.
Well, when Carolus Linnaeus did his classification system, he actually had no desire to classify human beings as great apes. He actually said after the fact that he only did that because the anatomical features seemed to make it unreasonable not to do it. He was actually a creationist. And the original Linnaean classification, which they don't really go by that today, it's kind of antiquated, but the original one was based almost solely off morphological traits. And so, like, if animals had, pectoral mammae, or if they had fur, or if they had, naked skin, or whatever, like, that was the way they classified them before they had genetic evidence.
Yes, interesting. I didn't know. And very interesting how he was a creationist too.
Yeah, Linnaeus was a creationist. He actually said, or it's my recollection that he said that he actually didn't even want to classify human beings as great apes. He only did that because of anatomical traits that matched them up with the great apes.
No, well, that's what he said.
Yeah, I don't remember the quote. Obviously, it's been years, but it was something like that. But yeah,
All
Anyway,
this,
Linnaeus he was a renowned creationist.
I hate to say, guys, but all this reminds me of is take my little hand, it's stronger.
I
I'm.
gotta jump off. You guys gonna be on for a while?
Oh no, man! I've spent like already 20 minutes trying to make you a picture.
I'm finishing a Christmas dinner thing, but I was gonna jump back on when I got home. But if you're
All
not, it's
right.
cool.
You'll jump on with some picture though, so it's gonna be completely waste. Anyway, I just picked up a pumpkin. I removed the background behind it. Then I picked up a pike, the fish, and I'm I'm overlaying it over the pumpkin, and I was about to surprise you, but
No,
go ahead
save
and
it because
leave.
I'm coming back. Save it. I would love to
Achilles,
see
Okay.
it.
or Christian, if you have that baby today, you have to name it Achilles.
That's
So
fair
Are
because
you
I don't
you?
better
think it's coming
tell
today.
you
So.
better tell Tammy to hold it in till midnight.
I
Hold it.
honestly, man,
Don't
like
let her eat anything spicy, dude.
I'm starting to think it's gonna be a Christmas baby. To be honest with you,
Oh, you better hope she's not eating a gyro. That's Greek.
it's Euro, man.
Euro, gyro,
It is
gyro,
Euro. Good. Yes, it
euro,
is.
euro.
Gyro is like a contraption copter thing.
But you know what I mean, so you better check the house.
She's so mean right now. I just kind of avoid her because, like, I'll be like, "Hey, honey, how's your day?" And she'll be like, "You did this to me."
Yep.
So, there's that.
It better come soon.
Yeah.
No, yeah, she's gonna probably kill me.
Wait a minute. Don't leave yet. I have it ready.
If you guys check the news and I'm in it, you know what happened.
So I think I
I ever tell you
got
that story
this.
about when she threw a trash can at me?
Oh man.
I love to tell that story.
Okay, I think I had to crop it. Okay, now I can crop it now.
It was
Okay,
full too.
give me a minute. I hope it works. I don't know if it will.
From me to your wife, she probably doesn't want you telling that.
No, for sure. That's the reason I tell it. It was like 100% full, and I'm not talking about like paper goods. This jugger was full of like food products, and uh, and I got on her nerves so bad that day that I was heading down the stairs out the front door, and that trash can came right behind me. She's like, "I'm taking out the trash."
What did you do? Not take
I was like, "Yeah, you're right." So
you didn't take the trash out, right? So she sent it after
no,
you.
it's one of those situations where you just sort of realize that you've crossed the line, and you just sort of shut up. I don't get to that place a lot, but I have been there.
Steven doesn't know anything about it.
Give it time.
I'm not
Give it
I'm
time.
not that brave.
Don't be
Give it
mouthing
time
off when
and
that
he
trash
will.
can's full, son.
I've been spending some time with a couple and their children, and every time the woman is like, she's throwing an arrow, and the man knows that that was an arrow, and he's trying to avoid it. I'm always trying to get there in between and just trying to ease the situation. So I don't want to leave and then fight.
Can I give you
Today
some advice?
today my friend said she complained about him coming at my house and fixing bikes and riding and stuff like that, and she said, yeah, you're having fun all the time. I'm the one that is in the house and stuff. And he's like, well, you did get out today. You were working. Man, she looked at him with that look. That's like,
Achilles, that is an A-B conversation, and you would be wise to see your way out of it.
I tried to get myself in there and be like, yeah, he was joking. You got that, right? He was joking.
For some reason, I feel uncomfortable. I think I should leave. No, I'm just kidding.
Look, I think you should keep
No, they
Steven on
had
his toes.
steaks.
If he starts
I
running
was
that mouth, find a shoe, find a frying pan.
They had steaks and chipuro. You don't know what chipuro is, but when people have that, you don't leave their house just like that. You stay. Jimmy in the chat knows what chipuro is. Yeah, you don't run away from that. So I'm not I don't drink, but chipuro is like a drink an alcoholic drink that we make here in Greece, which is almost like medicine, but it gets you tipsy, but it doesn't get you high. And after you stop drinking it, after a couple of hours, you are back to normal.
That's like when you have those long days and you take NyQuil when you're not sick.
I don't know. Do you take what? What was that?
Nothing. I'm just carrying on.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what that is.
All right, guys, I got to bounce, but if you guys are still on in like 30, 45 minutes, I'll jump back on.
Did you like that though? You didn't say a word.
Oh, I see it now. I'm sorry. I'm just now seeing it. That is a very, very interesting image that you have produced there.
That's just a random pumpkin, a random pike. I didn't know what a pike
I
could
mean, I
be.
like it. I got to be honest. Pumpkin Pike has been one of my better personas lately. I did start going by Pope Pike though, ever because all the Catholic guys started coming around.
If I get you the stuff, I think you will go with that title.
I like it. I like it.
That was some stuff, man.
All right,
All
well,
right,
if you
see you
guys are on
later.
like 45 minutes, bounce chicken bounce.
You shall not pass. Do that.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, and I think they are hiding a lot of truth in it as well, because
Oh,
Satan doesn't have gospel, but he steals truths from the gospel and puts them in movies, and they become like, and not just movies, books.
I see symbolism all the time in everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Like people will tell me that I read a lot into what's not there, and I'm like, no, it's totally there,
yeah, exactly. That's what I think too.
hidden in plain sight.
So we had in the Lord of the Rings that we've watched, we've had two towers, wink, wink. Then we have the battle for Middle Earth, and if you realize the truth, you realize that there is a heaven above and a hell below, and we are the Middle Earth. And what is the third one? What was it? The Fellowship of the Ring.
The
Okay.
Fellowship of the Ring is probably my favorite, and the stuff with Gollum in that movie, like there's a lot of symbolism with that.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody being so narcissistic in our society, they resemble the golem a lot.
They're
They have
they're they're consumed,
yeah, they have something that they just, they love so much that it consumes them.
and yeah, and they can start out, in the light, but the darkness devours them because they can't let go of what's so precious. So
Amen. I agree.
yeah, actually, me and Steven were watching that like night before last. I don't know.
Really, I told him that I have the extended editions, um, and I wanted to send it to him, but he said he wouldn't watch it.
Okay, so I'm very surprised. Like he put it on, and I was like, "Oh well." He's like, "Yeah, we can watch this," and I'm like, "That's fine with me." So I was actually surprised. He said he'd watch bits and pieces, but never the whole thing, and that kind of surprised me. But no, actually, that doesn't surprise me, but it does at the same time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure our Steven wouldn't go for the extended edition. Like if you can give him a short, of the whole Lord of the Rings in 30 seconds, that's the one he will watch. Give me a
Let's
short one. Yeah.
yeah, let's not pick on him too bad.
Steven, are you here?
Well, yeah, and look, we're going to watch the whole series over the weekend. So we have another hour of part one to watch. We'll do that tonight. And then tomorrow, we're going to watch part two and part three.
Man, you're gonna love those movies. But if you watch them and I send you the extended versions, would you then watch the extended
We
versions too?
already are. All
Oh,
three of them, we have the extended version.
Wait, wait,
awesome.
wait. I didn't know that we didn't get very far in, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. I don't know which version I've watched. I know that at some point when I was in the States, I was buying stuff that I couldn't find in my country. And at some point I found it was back in the day where you would go into a record shop, or a record shop still exist in California. Um, but DVD shops, people don't even know what a DVD is today. But back then, there were like huge shops with DVDs, and I just kept buying stuff. So at
Oh,
some
you're
point,
talking about CDs.
CDs, DVDs.
Yeah.
So I bought a lot of things that I couldn't find, like all the movies of Bruce Lee in one box set, and that kind of stuff. And I also bought this, but I never opened it. I still have it, but I've never opened the Lord of the Rings extended edition. I've never opened it, so I don't know which one I've watched. I've watched the extended one. I was in the. I mean, I went to the theater to watch those films. I bet. I hope that was the extended one. I don't know. I'll
It,
just check it out now.
it's probably the theatrical version because it's in the movies.
I better hope so, right? I paid a ticket for it. It better be the extended one. But now that we're mentioning this, I'm actually looking at here. I thought I had them around here, but they're not here. So whatever with that. When I bought do you remember, Krista? We were talking about this recently, but let me just say it publicly too. At some point, I bought that film with, oh man, what is his name? I Am Legend with Will Smith. And I bought that DVD because at that time, DVDs were the thing. And I was building a collection like everybody was. We didn't know the internet would come in and your collections would be useless. So I bought the I Am Legend and I noticed it had an alternate ending option. And I was like, what is that? So I hit it and it was a completely different ending to the movie with the actors and everything, like a complete production of a different ending of a movie. And that's interesting. So now my curiosity on the Lord of the Rings is growing. I'm going to check it out. But I think we have diverted from where we were a lot. We should go back.
That's because Stephen left the room, and then I was talking, so that's why. That's what happens.
Stephen, bring the order back. Is he still
Well,
out?
I don't think we have enough time to watch this whole video
Why?
because it's like 37 minutes long, and that would be like 2 hours.
The way we're going, huh?
Yeah.
No,
Didn't
okay.
didn't you say you wanted to do 2 hours?
Yeah, but this would be 2 more hours, as much as we're breaking it down. But yeah, we can do more.
Jimmy
Let's
gets
go.
me. Yeah, let's.
All this and more has enabled your species to dominate the earth. And yet you share with every other creature that ever lived the same origin, the same accident that led to the spontaneous generation of the first celled slimy algae 3.5 billion years ago. Now notice, no stutter, no stammer, no equivocation. This is it, kids. Thank God for your thumb, thank God for your knee, thank God that you can think abstractly, because that's all that separates you from everything else that came from slime, and they know exactly when it happened. They can give you the date. It happened 3.5 billion years ago. Now, if that is true, just right away, if that is true, think what that says, number one, about the value of human life. You're not made in the image of God. You are simply a creature of accident. What does that have to say about morality? If there is no creator, there's no fixed standard of right or wrong. And therefore, if you are an accident, simply akin to other living creatures, and if there is no fixed standard of right or wrong, what does that say about the meaning of life and the purpose of life? Well, let's go back to this article again. They ask, how did it all happen? What was the evolutionary process that led man to his conquest of a harsh and hostile environment? They didn't say, could it have been by evolution? They say, what was the evolutionary process? And then they go on to say, you find the amazing story in Time Life's books, new series, The Emergence of Man. Your introductory volume, The Missing Link, shows stranger than science fiction, the stranger than science fiction world of Australopithecus, the ape man. You will feel a sense of immediacy in visual adventure, in incredible, lifelike, pictorial, technical photo painting. And then they have all these pictures, this lifelike, pictorial, technical photo painting. I want you to understand that's just another way of saying the figment of someone's imagination. And there are the pictures. And the kids look, wow, it must be real. They've even got pictures. Well, what is evolution anyway? It's a theory made popular by Darwin and first espoused in his famous volume, or espoused there in his famous volume, the origin of the species. Now let me tell you what Darwin himself said, and I'm quoting on page 23. Analogy would lead me to the belief that all animals and plants are descended from some one prototype. All animals and plants are descended from some one prototype. All organisms start from a common origin, and from some low and intermediate forms, both animals and plants may have been developed. All organic things which have ever lived on the earth may be descended by some one primordial form. So what does that mean? Well, we all started out somehow as a speck of protoplasm in green algae, and ipso facto, everything developed out of that. Now, the prime tool is mutation plus natural selection. Mutation means that things just change as they adapt and naturally select themselves out of their environment. So they believe that, first of all, there was primitive protozoa. That just simply means original life. And somehow that primitive protozoa became an unsegmented worm. And then that unsegmented worm evolved into a fish. And then that fish turned into an amphibian. And that amphibian turned into a reptile. And then the reptiles became birds. And then the birds became mammals. And then finally the mammals became men. Now that's what you're supposed to believe. That nothing plus time plus chance equals everything. That time plus chance turns amoebas into astronauts, and molecules into monkeys, and men. Now what it is, folks, it's a fairy tale for adults. I mean, in the nursery school, we talk about fairy tales where frogs turn into princes, but we call that a fairy tale. But when we carry it into the classroom, it's the same fairy tale, only now it is for adults. I like Dr. Criswell's little saying that he uses sometimes. Once I was a tadpole, beginning to begin. Then I was a frog with my tail tucked in. Then I was a monkey in a banyan tree. And now I am a professor with a PhD. And you just simply go from step to step. Now, I want to tell you why I reject evolution. I want to give you 3 reasons why I reject evolution.
Now, we have way more than 3 reasons. We've gone over them, Achilles and I and Dan and all of us here at Proverbs Guys. But Adrian Rogers has his 3 pretty good solid reasons why also.
Before you press play, let me just throw in there that what I'm seeing here is the next great video by you with him narrating and you finding the right visuals for what he's saying. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there.
It's funny you said that because I told Krista earlier that was my objective. This is going to be my next video.
And let me know if you need anything, any visuals and stuff. Canva is pretty good. It's very helpful.
Yeah, it is. And that other program I did does video and pictures.
And the other thing that you are using as well, because when I'm looking for that kind of stuff, I just YouTube it and I try to find something, from a documentary or something like that,
Yeah.
which takes more time because you have to download the whole documentary, put it in the video editing program, then chop out the pieces that you want. Some of them can be copyrighted. It's more complicated that way.
It is. And you have to chop it up into small pieces and put stuff in between it that somehow ties together.
But it's doable. It's art, It's a new form of art. We can call it the 8th art, video editing of avoiding copyright.
It breaks my brain. So Stephen, he'll be like, no, you do this, and I'm like, I don't know. And then he's like, what do you mean you don't know? I just told you. I feel so bad for him, but
That's the worst thing a teacher can hear. Telling you, and then I don't know. I just told you,
I don't know. As far as like teaching things to me like that, I feel like we don't speak the same language on that aspect to
And I've
communicate.
noticed this with you. Like every time I'm bringing something in about showing you something, you just never respond. You just stay silent about it. I've noticed this. You're like,
It
nope, I don't want to learn.
it's not that I don't want. Well, whenever you email me and tell me, yeah, I'll show you, I tell Steven, you think I'm dumb for not knowing. He knows more about it than you do, and he's for sure gonna think I'm dumb. And then it doesn't help when he goes, well, he thinks I'm dumb about it too. I'm like, man, never mind.
Now, I think when you get the hang of it a little bit, just the starters, and you overcome, there is this, the way it works is there is this gap at the beginning, which you have to jump, and then it's all a straight line. But people are scared of the gap of starting. So if you take that leap of faith and you just give it a little bit, you'll see you're gonna fall in love with it. Yeah, I know, right? I do
I think
sound
it. I think it's because those around me already know, and I think, oh, my skills to learn it are not even really needed because there's people all around me that know how to do it much better anyway.
you're wrong. And you're wrong because both me and Steven, we get inspired on completely different things. Like if you ask me to do what Steven does, I can't do it. I can't. It's like it's not what I've been programmed by God to do. Steven is programmed to do this kind of stuff. I'm programmed to do some weird other kind of stuff. So we need you for to see the kind of programming God has put in you. So
I have a lot of ideas, I really do, but like making the ideas the reality. See, that's the problem.
I remember one guy before you come around, Krista. He said that he wanted me to help him make a video. I'm like, yeah, sure, let's. So he said, what I want to do is take the book of Job and go through it line by line, everything, and have visuals for all the things that it says. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, what? What? That's like impossible. Like, things that are in that book are debatable. So, which part do you want from each verse? You know, do you want the Leviathan to be like a hippo or a real dinosaur? You know, and it's like, oh man, you kidding me? Like, can we start simple? Can we just take the book of Acts? You know,
R-
that would be easier.
Right now, I'll settle for helping me make a 15-minute clip with a sermon that's got different video over it. That's what I'll settle for.
Yeah. Stephen, we're so sorry. You can press play and hear the 3 reasons.
Don't be sorry, man. As always, we yield to the Holy Spirit, and He guides these conversations. Every now and then we go astray and we talk about like random things, but then we snap it right back in. So yeah, let's go on.
Evolution. And I want you to think about these reasons. I don't want to argue with you, but I do want to state them clearly, hopefully that you can understand why many intelligent and well-trained people reject evolution. Now, I do reject evolution, first of all, for logical reasons. It is not logical. And many intelligent and well-trained scientists, now listen, I'm not talking about Baptist preachers now. I'm talking about intelligent and well-trained scientists are moving away from evolution because it does not answer the questions. Dr. Newton Tomasian, a physiologist for the Atomic Energy Commission, has stated this, and I quote, "Scientists who go about teaching that evolution is a fact of life are great con men, and the story they are telling may be the greatest hoax ever. In explaining evolution, we do not have one iota of fact." Now that's an Atomic Energy Commission scientist. That's not Adrian there. And then a Dr. Etheridge of the British Museum of Science said this. Listen to it. "9/10 of the talk of evolution is sheer nonsense, not founded on observation, and wholly unsupported by fact. This museum is full of proofs of the utter falsity of their view. Again, that's not some raving religious lunatic who said that. Listen to Dr. Ambrose Fleming. He was president of the Philosophical Society of Great Britain. Here's what he said: the evolution theory is purely the product of the imagination. Again, who is this saying this? These are brilliant men, learned men, men who've been honored. Dr. Cecil Wakeley, leading British surgeon and the late president of the Royal College of Surgeons, said this: when I was a medical student, I was taught the theory of evolution, but I never believed it. Now, this is not a 6 or 7 doctor. This is a number 10 doctor. Swedish embryologist Soren Lothrop wrote this: I believe that one day the Darwinian myth will be ranked the greatest deceit in the history of science. When this happens, many people will pose the question, how did this ever happen? Again, we're not talking now about a Bible thumper. We're just talking about a scientist who says this doesn't make sense. The great scientists.
Just briefly, this is a really good point, because atheists will try to convince you that there's a total consensus that is unquestionable, that every great mind agrees with, and that if they don't agree with this consensus, they're just buffoons. And these are quotes from brilliant men, like Adrian says. They've been honored. These are men who are at the top of their fields, and these are their opinions. These are not wackadoo, in the closet, like pseudoscientists. Like, these are actual brilliant men.
The only issue that the reason that atheists can say that is because this religious cult of evolution is pushing those scientists aside, and you don't get to hear their view as often as you can hear the other views. So you remember, we need to bring him up again, that molecular biologist that we have on, that he was talking about the biogenesis.
Are you talking about the guy who says that we cannot produce life in the lab?
Yep. And
yeah, do you have that clip?
Yeah, I have it. I've kept it handy, so it's always available.
As a matter of fact, I would be fine pausing this to show that and then go back into this.
All right. I know where it is. So give me a minute.
And he goes into reasons, like his final reasoning gets into the whole theme of tonight's episode, so this would be appropriate to go ahead and play that now. The main theme of the episode is how dangerous it is to teach evolution to children. And we're seeing it played out in society now with all the confusion and children wanting to identify as animals because they just don't understand the value that is them being made in God's image, because they're being taught that they just evolved more than the apes. It's hideous and it's sad. Achilleas disagrees with me. He believes in evolution.
Yeah, no, I'm just still looking because I have, I know what it is, but it is where I put all the exports of videos, and I've exported pretty much big deal of stuff since then, so I'm trying.
Gangster, what are you doing?
Yes, Gigi, why are you silent today? What is going on?
He's playing the strong silent type, eh? That leads me to believe that he's having his own show right now.
People are like,
wait. No.
It's a psyop. If it's a psyop, it started with Moses. I even go even further back.
What would you say to some of the parents who are like, look, we're going to go ahead, we'll learn about evolution, but we also believe in creationism. What is the harm in learning the Bible's creation story?
Well, learning the story is fine. I mean, that's great, but it's not science. And tax dollars used for science education shouldn't be used to teach creationism as an alternative. creationism is not right.
The notion of creationism, or in fact, look, Senator Marco Rubio, who's presumably a reasonably intelligent man, was asked, what's the age of the earth? And ultimately, either because he actually believed it, or he was trying to appeal to some constituency, had to argue that it's a big mystery, that somehow we should teach kids both ideas that the earth is 6,000 years old and that it's 4.55 billion years old, which is what it is. If you think about that, somehow saying that, well, anything goes, we shouldn't offend religious beliefs by requiring kids to know, to understand reality. That's child abuse.
It sounds very laudable to teach the contrary.
You see how he's twisting it? Like he just said that somebody got asked about whether we should teach children that it's 6,000 years old or it's billions years old. He didn't give us the answer of that guy, but he said, which is what it is when it comes to 6 billion years old. And then he said, now teaching the opposite to what it is, it's child abuse. You see, if you break down that sentence the way he put it out, it actually doesn't make sense. But if you don't, it's like, yeah, he's right. No, he wasn't. That was a complete fallacy what he did there.
No, you're right.
Labeled one of the two to be correct without showing us any evidence to it, not even the quote that he started talking about. And then based on that, he said, if you teach the opposite, then it's child abuse. So what is child abuse is to teach children lies. If you want to tell them we don't know, go ahead and say that. That is not child abuse. If you tell them we know, but we can't show you any evidence because we're the ones that have them, that is child abuse. So I'm skimming forward to go to this guy. It's right after him, but okay, I have a better timeline if I go here. Okay, here we are.
There we go, that guy.
Kinda 10, 14. All right.
Origin of life is purely synthetic organic chemistry. There's no way around it. I am perfectly situated to be commenting on this, to be critiquing the origin of life research. It is abiological. It is before biology takes over. This is purely synthetic organic chemistry. And making these compounds is very simple. 4 classes of compounds. You have to make them from what's available on a presumed prebiotic earth. And so the chemistry is not hard for a synthetic organic chemist to follow, and any trained synthetic organic chemist can follow me on this. And I've never seen a synthetic organic chemist disagree with me on this. In fact, the people that might disagree with me are biologists because they've never made anything. The only thing they may have made is they buy a kit and they make it, which is made by chemists, but they've never made anything ab initio. And so it's the synthetic chemist that can critique origin of life research better than anyone else. So go ahead, ask your synthetic chemist friends to listen to what I have to say. If they have anywhere a master's degree or beyond in synthetic organic chemistry, have them critique what I say. We do not know how to build even a simple bacterium. The simplest bacterium with its 256 protein coding genes, we have no idea how to build it. First of all, we don't know how to build the molecules, the 4 classes of molecules that are needed for it. We don't know how to, even if we had those 4 classes of molecules, assemble them even into the simplest of bacteriums. We don't know how to do that. One can do that with the technologies we have today. We can make technologies, but we can't even make the simplest bacterium. Anybody who would say something contrary does not know what they are talking about. Show me the demonstration. Nobody has ever done it. And it's not because of lack of effort. It's not because of lack of will. First of all, they haven't been able to get the molecules to do this. And if they could make the molecules, even if we were to give them the molecules, they wouldn't have the information. There would be no inherent information in the DNA. But even if we gave them the DNA in the structure that they wanted, They wouldn't know how to put all the components together because of the sophistication within a cell. The interactomes, meaning that the interacting connectivity between the molecules, the van der Waals interactions, all of these have to be in the right place and in the right order for a cell to function. We don't even know how to define life, let alone knowing how to spark it to begin.
Mic drop is what that is.
When one looks at a typical textbook, one will see some prehistoric pond and molecules, and those molecules coming together and forming a cell, and those cells coming together and some slithering creature coming out of this pond. That is fallacious. There is no truth in that. We don't even know how to make the molecules. We are lost on how to do this. We can't even make the basic building blocks. But even if we could, from prebiotic type environment to make these, with all the intellect that we put into this, even if we could make them, we have no idea how to assemble them. You say, well, we can make the liposome, the cell membrane. We cannot. There's over 40,000 lipids have been identified in cell membranes. You want to take some simple ones? It's not just individual lipid membranes. You have to have the inside and the outside of the membrane have to be different. You have to have this huge array of proteins, that transmembrane proteins, and you have to have carbohydrates on the surface as identifiers, even in the simplest bacterium.
Wait. Let me just lay this in a little bit layman terms, all right?
Thank you. Yep, break it down.
Not that I'm at his level, but I'm not even close, all right? But what we call that first organism, which everything spanned from, where some chemical elements got together and somehow a cell got created, that most primitive form had a cell membrane. That membrane, he just said, has 40,000 lipids, which are like pores, which have a code to connect to something to connect to. And that is 40,000 pores outside and corresponding inside, like 80,000. And the thing is that if we don't understand how that got created, and we say, well, it must have gotten created because we are here, that's some faith that you guys have. That's what we're saying. If we could replicate it, then we could say, okay, now we understand how it could have happened. But if we are that far from even understanding it, and the more our technology advances, the bigger the questions become, then to say that it somehow happened on its own is faith. It should not be in textbooks. That's all. It's religion. Make another class called The Religion of Evolution, and you are absolutely free to teach it. Just don't say that it's a fact when there are scientists at that level that tell you it's a joke. So this whole episode, let's dedicate it to those that they strawman the whole evolution scam by saying, oh, this is what Ken Hovin says. No, Ken Hovin just put it out for the preschool level that we all are. All right? And you have people like that, that if they start talking, we only understand half of what they're saying. Not even half. And they're telling you it's a bloody joke. Stephen, Gigi, comments?
If it is a joke, it's not a funny one.
Yeah.
I don't think Gigi's actually with us. I think he's maybe doing his own show, and he's just graciously letting us have a seat filler.
Okay, but does he have a show? I'm gonna check out right now.
I have not seen it. But it could also be Claude's show or somebody's show. Gigi. He's not out there listening, though.
Yeah. Okay, I just checked. He's not live. So let's just resume with destroying that thing people call science through the science of a synthetic chemist. Right.
This is
And
the
then,
expert.
yeah.
We have no idea how to put the structure together. It's not there. So not only do we not know how to make the basic components, we do not know how to build the structure even if we were given the basic components. So the Gedanken experiment is this. Even if I gave you all the components, even if I gave you all the amino acids, all the protein structures from those amino acids that you wanted, all the lipids in the purity that you wanted, the DNA, the RNA, even in the sequence that you wanted. So I'm even giving you the code. And so now I say, and all the nucleic acids. Can you now assemble a cell here in your individual bodies, not in your individual laboratories, not in a prebiotic cesspool, but in your nice laboratory? And the answer is a resounding no. And if anybody claims otherwise, they do not know this area.
Dude, just pause it. Isn't that insane? Like,
Did you just tell yourself to just pause it?
I
That was
don't know.
epic.
No, I just let you know because it was a freeze frame and you wouldn't know if I paused it. That's all. So he just said that we can't even make the elements that are needed. But even if you gave us the elements, even if you gave us everything that it needs, we don't know how to put it together. We don't understand how the most primitive cell could get created today. We can't.
Right.
It's not just not having the Lego pieces. It's like if you give me all the Lego pieces, I have no idea how to put it together.
Exactly. And that's what they leave out when they teach kids evolution.
They're like, oh, every scientist agrees. No, not every scientist agrees. Every
Right.
scientist in your cult maybe agree. And the reason we are so mad about this and we will keep going and attacking it, and if something happens to us, others are going to do the same, and there are others doing it already, is because of Matthew 18:6. We are trying to warn you. You are pushing children away from God through this. And if you are a teacher and you are not putting the seed of doubt about this within the mind of your children, you might be guilty as well. And we don't want that. We're trying to warn you. This theory has been created just to take God out of children's minds and people's minds. It's an alternative to God creating us. So we don't know how to put all these things together, but guess what? God does. He did. Comments?
Amen on that. My only comment is exactly what Achilles just said.
That's what's more than.
This is how far the misunderstanding has gone. Even science professors, even biology professors, think that there is a near building of life, that we understand all the ways to build life. We do not. Not only have none of the molecules been made ab initio under prebiotic-like conditions to make the homochiral molecules that are made. Remember, we need 4 classes of molecules. We need the nucleic acids, and then the homochiral systems that for the amino acids, which then need to be built up into protein structures. We need the carbohydrates, which have to be built up into the polycarbohydrate structures. And then we need the lipids, which also are chiral. All of these we need in homochiral form. We don't know how to do this in any prebiotic type scenario at all. These have not been made. And then to assemble these into a cell, it's never been done. So there's a gross misunderstanding. And this misunderstanding has come because of the projections of those who work in the area of origin of life. They do one little thing and then they extrapolate it, and then they work with the press to ramp it up even more, and they project as if they really know it. And so the layperson reads this and says, you see, scientists understand. And then it's not just the layperson. Scientists think that other scientists understand all of this, but they do not. So this is a cell. What is the origin of life? How do you get a cell like this? What is the origin of something like this? This is an amazing machine. A cell is an amazing machine. It's not just a blob of protoplasm. Every day it gets harder to have the origin of life, to come up with a scenario, because the origin of life becomes more and more complex every day. A cell is a factory. It has the lipid bilayer, which is extremely selective to let certain things in and not other things. It has all of this substructure in here, these little areas where energy is made in here. It has these microtubules which can form, so you can move matter from point A to point B. If you go to a factory, what you see is these overhead hanging machines that are moving materials from point A to point B. In these systems, and the way they do this is they build these racks. But same thing happens in a cell. You get these microtubules to move material from point A to point B, and then as soon as the material is done moving, the microtubule breaks down and then assembles some other place. You say, well, why doesn't it leave it there? Because then the cell would become too rigid. So it just rebuilds it. It's just amazing factory what's happening in a cell. This is what we have to make. If we want to have origin of life, you got to start here. You don't start here. You start with a single cell. Just build a single cell. That's what we have to do in origin of life. Nobody has ever done this. If you've been taught that simple forms of life have been made, that is a lie that you are believing. Somebody told you a lie. That has never been done. Next slide. Organisms care about life. Molecules don't care. Chemistry, on the contrary, is utterly indifferent to life. Without a biologically derived entity acting upon them, molecules have never been shown to evolve toward life. Never. Molecules don't care about life. They don't know anything about moving toward life. They have no brain. Organisms want to move toward life and keep life going. Molecules don't care about life. Nobody has ever seen molecules assemble toward life. Never. It doesn't happen without a biological entity working on them. I asked all my colleagues, can you show me an example of this? Of molecules moving toward order, moving toward an ordered system where you have a non-regular assembly. Regular assembly is like A or AB. That you can get pure thermodynamic assembly. But non-ordered assembly is a non-regular pattern. That's what you have in DNA. We know from computer science you have to have non-regular patterns in order to have complexity for living systems. And I asked my colleagues, do you have any example of molecules without a biological entity acting upon them, moving to give an ordered assembly that is a non-regular pattern? And they sent me papers where chemists have taken molecules and assembled them in that way. I said, non-biological entity. You can't have a human doing this. Molecules don't move toward life. Well, even if you want to have molecules move toward life and you have human beings working upon them, can the human beings do it? And the answer is no. Next slide.
Just to cover all the bases.
Yeah, I mean, that's so devastating to the whole thing, because, all right, the science of the religion of evolution actually goes all the way back to the Big Bang, and from the Big Bang all the way to you changing from another being before you, like the ape. There are hundreds of steps. So this guy right here is focusing on one very important step of it, which is abiogenesis, which is something getting created out of nothing. You're going to hear a lot of excuses about why it happened, because for some reason it had purpose to happen. Wait, he just annihilated that. Like, there is no way to have it, even if humans want to, by purpose. So if you don't have that step, so the whole thing crumbles. If we were to focus on some other step, that's another place that it can crumble as well. So I think that when it comes to abiogenesis, I think we've had enough, and we can continue the other the other.
Actually, we may have to do a part 2 because I promised Bobby I would only be on for 2 hours because he wants to watch a movie with me. I rarely get to spend a lot of time with him.
All right.
So I'm going to have to go. But we can do a part 2 on it tomorrow. But I also would really like you and Krista to do that special episode you guys wanted to.
Yeah. Let's just let the Christmas day, just because I don't know, I'm going to go out and eat, but the night is still night, and then but you guys are gonna be out, so people also have their families and stuff. But we got a lot of shows coming up. Anyway,
Yes.
yeah, Merry Christmas, brother Lupin, and happy birthday for your dad. And who else did I miss? Did I miss anybody? No, I don't know. Glad that you liked it, brother Jim. Now I don't know what is this? The Action Comic Bible? I have no
I've
idea
never
what
heard
that
of
is.
it.
Well, me neither. They're making an animated Lilo and Stitch. I'm not sure who Lilo and Stitch is. You're gonna have to help me out. But all right. Oh, yep. Oh, Stephen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen just pulled a Stephen on me. That's how we call that when he just bails. He calls it the Scottish goodbye. Irish. Scottish? Irish? Which one drinks more? Yeah, I think it's the Irish goodbye. Where, you know, instead of hugging and kissing and saying, oh, goodbye, you just close the door and leave. So, okay, Stephen. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna see you maybe tomorrow. We're gonna have a part 2 on this one to
Well,
finish the lecture. Gigi,
What?
welcome back.
Where did I go?
I don't know, but you weren't here.
I need to tell you something. Are we live?
Yeah.
Oh, but I need to. Dustin is just a crazy guy.
He can get a little crazy.
Do you see the video earlier? It was so funny. He was talking to Sandman. Felt bad for Sandman. He's such a nice, polite guy. It's Dustin. He thinks he's a Satanist for some reason. I think something to do with a church being underground. And then he always thinks Sandman cross dresses.
I'm gonna watch that, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, okay, um, there are some issues with the Orthodox Church, but I wouldn't go that far as calling them Satanists. Now maybe he based that on his username because the username Sandman is a little weird for a Christ believer. But I don't know. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, it was so funny. I felt bad for Sandman. That's just crazy.
Let me end the show and we'll talk backstage about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you for being around. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.